Disney's bold attempt to modernize a beloved classic has spiraled into a PR catastrophe, box office disaster, and cultural flashpoint. Now, with The Simpsons delivering the final satirical blow, Rachel Zegler finds herself at the epicenter of Hollywood's most explosive meltdown. This isn't just entertainment, this is a cautionary tale for an entire industry. In a scathing act of cultural satire, The Simpsons delivered what many are calling a surgical strike on Disney's live-action Snow White remake, and Rachel Zegler was undeniably the target. The episode, titled Snow Woke, aired on November 17, 2024, and was strategically designed to mock the perceived wokeification of beloved classics. The cartoon depicted a reimagined Snow White who bans princes, lectures villagers on intersectional justice, and ultimately watches her own film bomb in an empty theater, mirroring real-world box office numbers. The episode's opening banner, "For every woke rewrite, a fairy dies," set the tone for a segment that Entertainment Weekly hailed as brutal in brilliance, with Krusty the Clown yawning during the credits and Sideshow Mel face-palming. The parody didn't just poke fun, it symbolically buried the film's cultural credibility. Nielsen ratings revealed an 18% spike in viewership, proving audiences were hungry for unfiltered satire. This wasn't a throwaway gag. It was a deliberate, viral takedown of a corporate misfire, pushing the conversation beyond YouTube and news circles into mainstream pop culture. For Zegler and Disney, the damage was more than reputational, it was narrative-defining. The longest-running show on TV had spoken, and its message was clear. Even cartoons have grown tired of Hollywood's identity politics. Rachel Zegler's promotional tour for Snow White was meant to celebrate her rise from breakout star to Disney royalty, but her own words became the fuel for a cultural inferno. In interview after interview, Zegler distanced herself from the source material, calling the 1937 original weird, outdated, and stalkery. She mocked the central love story and dismissed the prince character entirely, despite the fact that her role was built on the legacy of that very storyline. One of her most quoted comments, referring to the original film as a product of patriarchal storytelling, was seized upon by critics and skeptics, alike as emblematic of Hollywood's tone-deaf approach to legacy IP. On Jimmy Kimmel Live, she declared, "I'm not playing a princess, I'm playing a changemaker," a line that quickly became a meme and a flashpoint for fan backlash. Her dismissal of romantic themes alienated traditional Disney fans, and while Disney attempted to spin her statements as bold and empowering, social media turned them into viral soundbites of arrogance and hypocrisy. Each time she urged critics to hit unfollow, thousands did just that. Her engagement plummeted and public sentiment turned hostile. What should have been a celebration of modern femininity became a referendum on overreach and storytelling. Ultimately, Zegler's rhetoric didn't just hurt the film, it shattered her image as a relatable, likable lead. Disney spared no expense in promoting Snow White 2025, from augmented reality filters on Instagram to curated Spotify playlists. By Zegler herself, the studio treated the film like a cultural event. A pop-up Snow Woke cafe opened in Los Angeles, offering themed drinks and collectible merchandise. Snapchat geofilters and limited edition mugs flew off shelves. The teaser trailer racked up over 85 million views in its first week alone, and the campaign promised the most diverse Snow White ever. But beneath the spectacle, fan communities on Reddit and Discord warned that the messaging was overpowering the magic. By the time the second teaser dropped, the conversation had shifted. Instead of excitement, there was skepticism. An anonymous Disney insider admitted, "We expected buzz, but nobody foresaw the girl boss backlash overtaking nostalgia." The marketing leaned heavily into identity politics, alienating core audiences who wanted enchantment, not a lecture. As the campaign intensified, so did the divide. What was designed to be a celebration of inclusion became an echo chamber of corporate virtue signaling. Rather than unite fans, the campaign split them down the middle. It was a textbook case of how too much messaging can eclipse the magic, when fans feel like they're being preached to instead of entertained. Even the most visually stunning campaigns can collapse. The controversy reached a new peak with what the media dubbed Dwarfgate. Actor Peter Dinklage publicly criticized Disney for including dwarf characters, calling it exploitative and outdated. In response, Disney removed the dwarfs altogether, only to face immediate backlash from disability advocates and fan groups, who felt their erasure was equally problematic. The Little People of America launched a petition demanding authenticity, while Disney scrambled with costly CGI reshoots to add back one token dwarf. The studio's attempt to appease both sides resulted in satisfying no one, and box office projections plummeted by 5% almost overnight. Behind closed doors, Disney execs reportedly called the situation the silliest overthinking since the Spider-Man toilet paper suit. The fiasco exposed Hollywood's growing incapacity to handle representation with nuance. What should have been a simple fantasy element became a political minefield. Ironically, the attempt to avoid offense generated even more. Dwarfgate became a symbol of how authenticity often loses to risk aversion in the age of online outrage. It didn't just hurt the film, it added another layer of controversy that alienated both progressives and traditionalists. In trying to walk the tightrope of representation, Disney fell into the canyon of contradiction. Rachel Zegler's promotional appearances became a masterclass in what not to say on a press tour. On Good Morning America, she fumbled through explanations of feminist lyrics in Someday My Prince Will Come, admitting she hadn't sung the original version in years. The moment went viral, spawning parody clips and cringe compilations. On The View, she issued a vague apology for any misunderstandings, only to trip over her own words live. Entertainment Tonight compiled her awkward moments into a cringe countdown that amassed over 2 million views. Saturday Night Live spoofed her as Rachel Zegler, and even co-star Gal Gadot reportedly distanced herself, refusing to do additional voiceovers. Disney brought in veteran media coaches, but leaked footage showed Zegler rejecting scripted lines with a frustrated, "This isn't me." The damage was done. Her image shifted from empowered to entitled, and fans no longer saw her as the modern heroine she was meant to portray. Every attempt to course correct only deepened the perception that she was out of touch. The PR strategy unraveled in real time, and with every meched-up moment, the backlash grew louder. What began as a star-making press tour ended as a cautionary tale and brand mismanagement.